genes determine a lot of these things, like how you handle lactose, the sugar in milk, how you handle alcohol, whether you can drink a lot of alcohol, your taste buds, the cilantro as an example, how you metabolize coffee. All of those are very individual according to genetics, but food turns on or off genes in your body. So every food that you put into your mouth is turning on or off certain genes. I love that concept. And once you get that deep down, once you internalize that, then you say, wow, I am feeding my genes. I am eating right for my genes. I am helping to turn on the proteins, build the proteins that will keep me strong and vital and beautiful. So that's the concept.
Welcome to the Friends in Beauty podcast, a safe space for ambitious beauty industry creatives to have real talk, get real answers, and practical tools to grow their businesses. My name is Aquia Robinson, and I'm a makeup artist, beauty educator, and the creator of Friends in Beauty. I created Friends in Beauty to support like-minded creatives just like you on their quest to connect, network, and build genuine relationships within the beauty community. Join me every week as me and my special guests reveal the keys to success and longevity in the beauty industry, and most importantly, have fun while doing it. You ready? Hey, what's up? It's your best friend in beauty, Aquia Robinson. Welcome back to another episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast. I am so happy to have you here, and I hope you're listening to this episode in high spirits and in good health. If you are a friend in beauty, I welcome you to join the Friends in Beauty Facebook community. If you're looking for a community of like-minded, ambitious friends in beauty to virtually connect with, network, and share resources, then click the link down below in the show description to join us in the Facebook community, and I'll be there to welcome you with open arms. Also, let's get social. Follow Friends in Beauty on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty. Additionally, the Friends in Beauty podcast is available on several platforms. We're on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google, YouTube, you name it, we are there. And whatever platform you are listening from right now, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning into the Friends in Beauty podcast. I appreciate it more than you know. And I would love it even further if you took the time to leave a 5-star rating, a review, a like, a comment, a share, a subscribe, or something to let me know how you feel about the Friends in Beauty podcast. Additionally, Friends in Beauty is now on Patreon. So for as little as $3 a month, you can support the Friends in Beauty podcast. And there are also several tiers available that unlock Patreon exclusive content just for you, like behind the scene content of the Friends in Beauty podcast, bonus interview clips, a monthly Ask Me Anything, discounts, and so much more. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'll leave the link down below in the show description for that as well. Also, if you'd like to stay connected even further, join the Friends in Beauty mailing list tribe. They are the first to know about all things Friends in Beauty, and I send out different resources and tips throughout the week. So if that's something that you're interested in, join us over there. And last but not least, listen up. The most important thing is to share the Friends in Beauty podcast with your other friends in beauty, your family, your friends, anybody that you think could benefit from the information that is being shared. Share away to help me grow the Friends in Beauty community. Now, on this episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast, I welcome Dr. Mark Tager to the Friends in Beauty guest chair. Dr. Tager is a medical advisor at Neurohacker Collective, bringing decades of expertise spanning the fields of integrative, aesthetic, regenerative, and lifestyle medicine to the team. He has created hundreds of educational videos and training courses, as well as authored 11 books. His latest book, Feed Your Skin Right, builds on his passion for an inside-out approach to skin health. Dr. Tager received his medical training at Duke University and family practice at the University of Oregon. Renowned for teaching other clinicians, he has served as faculty at Duke Integrative Medicine, the American Nutrition Association, and the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. I had such a wonderful time talking to Dr. Tager. You know I'm all about the skin, so I enjoyed learning more about how we can care for our skin from the inside out. In this interview, Dr. Tager shares all about his new book, Feed Your Skin Right, the concept of eating right for your genes, how to assess the quality of the supplements you currently take, the best supplements you can take for healthy skin, what he knows now compared to what he learned in medical school, how beauty pros can team up with medical professionals to assist their clients further, and so much more. This was the first time that I've had a doctor on the podcast, so it was super cool, and Dr. Tager was so much fun. Let's go ahead and jump into this conversation with Dr. Tager, and if you prefer to watch the interview, then tune in on YouTube. Enjoy. Welcome to the Friends of Beauty podcast, Dr. Tager.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you. You are the first doctor on the Friends in Beauty podcast. You're making history. I love it.
Great.
But before we jump into the interview, I would love to start off with some icebreaker questions to get us warmed up, and so the Friends in Beauty audience can get to know you outside of the world of being a doctor.
Okay.
All right. So the first one, just give us 3 random facts about you.
I studied Afro-Cuban dance for 7 years.
Okay.
And I took a little Graham and Limon as well. I am a reasonably decent guitar player. Of course, everybody in California has to be able to play at least 3 chords or they don't let you into the state. And my aesthetic passion is I collect these antique Persian tribal rugs from the mid part of the 19th century. So those are 3 random facts.
Okay, I love that. I love that. So I have these things, these deck of cards called pod decks.
Okay.
I know you like to have a good time. So this is a what the heck deck and a would you rather. Which card would you like from whatever deck?
Oh, let's do what the heck.
What the heck? Okay.
What the heck.
And it'd be really like what the heck sometimes. Whoever came up with these questions, it must be like random people. Let's see. What the heck? That's boring. No, we're not gonna do that one. Oh, this is interesting. Have you ever been bitten or attacked by an animal? If so, what and why?
You know, I was down in Baja, and I did get stung by a stingray on my foot, and it blew up. Now, this is the weird thing. I mean, it's a little medical advice here. You would think for an inflammation, you would put ice on it. Wrong.
Okay.
With a stingray, you're supposed to get it in warm water. And in truth, one of the things that people do now, this is a little gross, but this is medically proven. People urinate on it because the warm urine actually helps. So I actually put my foot in a hot tub, but that's the one significant bite I've had.
A stingray. So I've always heard that with the urine with jellyfish, but I didn't know that worked for stingray.
Yeah.
And anytime I think I just told somebody the other day, maybe like 2 weeks ago, actually, that you're supposed to like put urine on it, and they just imagine somebody just standing over you, like peeing. Like hopefully you put it in like a cup first, and then maybe like
whatever. It's not the urine per se; it's the warmth. You need a warm liquid.
Gotcha. Okay, take that medical advice, y'all. Okay. All right. What do people always tell you that you're good at?
I think my colleagues sort of refer to me as a healthcare synergist, because what I tend to do is I see that 1 + 1 + 1 can equal 10. So my gift, all of us have our superpowers, and I will often ask people, what are your superpowers? And I think it's the ability to organize, clarify, and communicate something that's terribly complicated, making it really simple. That's sort of my superpower.
Okay, I love that. We need more of those people out here. People tell me the same thing when it comes to like the beauty world, at least, that I'm able to like break things down for people to comprehend it. Nice. Take it in. Yeah. Nice. People love this one. When is the last time that you did something for the first time?
About 18 months ago, I decided I would try pickleball. Now, I have some gifts, but one of them is not eye-hand coordination.
Okay.
So my friend, please, you'll love it. You'll be good at it. You'll love it. You'll be good at it. Well, I was at their personal pickleball court, and 18 seconds in, the ball is hit at my feet. I went to swipe it. I slipped. I fell backwards, and I hit my head and gashed my head.
Oh no.
Needed stitches. So that was the beginning and end of my pickleball career.
Yeah.
So that was not one of those that ended well, but it doesn't dissuade me from getting out of my comfort zone, however.
Exactly. At least you could say you tried it. And
I tried it, and it's a great line. Said, yes, when I was playing pickleball, I always noticed that. So it gave me that sort of fake air of authority.
Right. That's so funny. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry that happened, the gash, but at least
Yeah.
yeah, you could say it's not for me.
There you go.
What's the last place that you traveled to for vacation?
Let's see. We had the pandemic. So prior to the pandemic, I think the last place we went as with my wife, we went to Spain. And I just, what's great about Spain, and our son, actually, I sent him to work when he was 13 at a friend's restaurant for the summer. He calls me up and says, Dad, these Spaniards really know how to live. Because they go out late at night, they dance till the wee hours. So
Yeah.
Spain is a very special place for me. I love all of it.
Nice. I plan on visiting Spain one day.
Yeah, it's a great
Awesome.
location.
Yeah. The last one, if you weren't a doctor, what else could you see yourself doing? Do you have any other passions?
Well, I do. I thought I was going to be a rock and roll musician.
Mm-hmm.
And that, that didn't work out as well as I'd like. And I realized how challenging it is to make a living as an artist.
Yeah.
So it would be great to be an artist. But, somehow or other, medicine was more of a calling, and I was better at it, at least understanding and communicating it to people.
Okay. I love that. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. Where are you from?
Originally from New York, South
Okay.
Shore, near Jones Beach.
Okay, so you from the East Coast. So you
East Coast. And, I can speak New York if I need to, because my brother would have gone to the store if he could have,
Exactly. The New Yorker accent is just so distinctive, like you already know.
And it's so weird because I haven't lived there since I'm 7. I left when I was 17, a long time ago. And when I get excited, I will sort of, every so often people say, oh, you're from New York. And I work so hard to sort of get rid of that accent.
Yeah.
But when I get excited and I speak rapidly, it comes out.
It's there. Yeah. So did you grow up wanting to be a doctor?
No, I grew up, again, wanting to be a rock and roll musician, and medicine sort of got, it just got more of my attention. And I thought it was a better way to serve and help people as well, certainly.
Yeah. How long have you been a doctor, and how did you narrow down your focus? Well,
it's really interesting. And I tell this story in the book. I went to Duke Medical School, which is a wonderful medical school. And I got hepatitis in my second year, infectious hepatitis. I knew it because my urine turned dark, my skin turned yellow and started itching. It wasn't the serious kind. It just needed rest. I went down to about 115 pounds. And I had a chance then to look at my life and say, what am I doing? I was a typical medical student. I was eating, dinner was about 3 minutes, standing up, bites, looking at things. I was eating chocolate and candy all day. I must have been drinking 12 cups of coffee. I wasn't getting any exercise. In fact, in those days, I was even smoking a little bit. And I had this chance to reflect. And I really encourage people, they don't need to have hepatitis, but there's a moment in time when the light turns on. When a switch turns on. And I realized I had to change my personal lifestyle. So I took up yoga. I took up meditation. I went back to running, which I liked to do when I was younger. And then I helped start the first nutrition training program for medical students in the United States at Duke. And then it's just sort of evolved from there. So that just became a routine and normal. You just normalize those healthy behaviors. And then when you go outside of that and you eat too much, you drink too much, then you don't have the energy and the drive and the zest that you need to have in life.
Yeah.
So that's what moved me in that direction. And I've started a few companies. I've written 11 books, my latest being the Feed Your Skin Right book. But I've found early on that I had a gift for communication. So that's the path that I've chosen to pursue.
Yes, I love that. And I love that you mentioned your medical school days of just eating whatever, or just, trying to get something in you quick, because it's similar to the beauty industry in a way. Like a lot of us, when we're on set, we don't eat properly, or we don't eat the whole day. They might have pizza on set, or just things that aren't necessarily nutritious and give you energy. Like they give you a little, that you crash. So I know a lot of beauty professionals need to kind of adopt those healthy lifestyles as well, as maybe carrying something with them on set to, stay healthy.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just wrote a little piece for one of the beauty magazines about healthy snacks. And here's the issue with that, is that a lot of folks, they're up really late. They get up early in the morning. They don't have a good breakfast. They don't have a breakfast that's going to carry them throughout the day. They grab a muffin and some coffee. And then what happens is that the glucose quickly goes down. And then they find themselves having to refuel all day long. Chips here, candy here, and really what you want to do is make the commitment to that larger, nutritious, protein-laden breakfast. And if you're going to snack on some healthy stuff, carrots and hummus, sliced fruits. Yeah, it's a little more boring. And then also try to remember to step back and ask yourself, am I hungry or am I thirsty?
Yes.
Because what happens is that sometimes you get mixed up in your mind about that, because you're not really listening to the signals your body is providing. So no Cokes, no Pepsis, no sugary drinks, carbonated, unsweetened, flavored waters, regular old water. Just making sure you stay hydrated is a big piece of the equation. So it's hard. I know, and you're on set, you're bending over people, you're attending to them. I get it, but you've got to care for yourself.
Exactly.
Because here's the other piece, is that really what you have to give to someone else is not just your skills, and they're considerable. It's who you are and your being and your presence. So if you care for yourself, if you radiate from inside out that glow, and outside in, certainly, but you're sharing that with whomever you're working with.
Yes, I love that. Absolutely. So I would love to know, because I have some friends that have gone like the traditional medical route, and then I have some friends that are naturopathic doctors as well. So in your opinion, what you learned in medical school compared to what you know now with all like the advances in like medicine and research and everything?
That's such a great question, because the average physician gets 19 hours of training in nutrition all throughout their career. And yet the diseases that we struggle with, the chronic diseases, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, they're all nutrition related. Okay, so we don't get that. Now, I've taught at naturopathic schools, and I do a lot of work and education of naturopaths. And I really do think that their education, they are very, very well positioned to be guides for patients, for consumers who want to have a guide through a journey of better health and well-being. Now, the difference is the viewpoint. The traditional physician, we've got silos. You take care of the kidneys, and you take care of the heart, and you do the skin, and you do the gut. And really, when we look at functional medicine, integrative medicine. We try to look across all of those different silos and get to the root cause of what's really going on. So it's a different philosophy. Allopathic medicine is very, it's a bullet. It's a single bullet. We look for a single biochemical pathway to find a drug, to find some medication that works on a single pathway.
Right.
When you look more natural medicine, we're talking about a concept. It's a big word. I love it. It's called pleiotropy. Pleiotropy. And what it means is that, there are multiple effects from a natural substance. So when I go out to my garden and I look at all those colors, I think about Mother Nature putting in 5,000 phytonutrients to protect the skin.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very hard to duplicate in a laboratory.
Yeah. I saw your garden. I was peeking on your Instagram page. I love it because I have some things growing out on my balcony right now. What are you growing?
Well, right now I'm in between one big tomato crop and I've started another. I always have arugula, and this is a time to plant that in the West Coast because that's just my favorite green, and it's pretty bug resistant. The bugs don't like to eat arugula. I've got some jalapenos. I've got some other peppers. I always have chard in the garden as well. And then I got an herb garden as well. So I go out and clip my thyme and my rosemary and basil. Yeah. And I found this year that I've been more successful, this is the West Coast tip, growing my basil in pots than in the soil. For some reason, they've been getting some fungus. But
I love it.
But the great thing for me about the pandemic, I'm a city boy, and what do I know about gardens? I travel 150, 175,000 miles a year all around the world speaking to people. Mm-hmm. And then the pandemic hit and I was home. And so I put in this garden, and so it's given me great joy. It's also taught me and helped to reinforce that personal growth is an analog process. It's not a digital process. You go out every day and you see a little more growth, and you see things trying to peek their head up from the soil. And then, of course, my dog, I have this little dog, and she was so happy. She said, wait, we just get to lay around and stay home. So she was really happy.
Yeah, I love that. And I have learned so much in the last couple of years just from gardening and growing my own fruits and vegetables, just about life and about business, just observing the seed growing into something so spectacular.
What's also interesting is that, we talk a lot about meditation, and meditation, yes, you could sit, you could do that. You've got to get in touch with your breathing. Mm-hmm. But when you think about it, when you and the act that you are doing are one, you're not distracted, you're not pulled away, you're not pulled into the future or pulled back into the past, you are meditating. So when I go out to the garden, I leave my phone in the house and I go out and just, I'm right there, and there are no distractions. Mm-hmm. So the issues that we have so often in this modern day world are we're pulled and pushed in all of these different directions. And that is what causes this overload of sympathetic, of stress-related activity going on chemically in our bodies. Mm-hmm. So anything we can do to get down to a simpler kind of meditative action. If I were to ask you to think when you leave your work and you come back home and say, wow, I had an incredible day today at work. Mm-hmm. When you look back in that, what happened? What took place?
I was probably not stressing about it. It was just a flow.
It was a flow.
Just everything flowed.
Everything flowed. There's something called actually the flow state. There's been a lot of research done on that. Everything flowed. You were one, and it was easy, and you were attending, and you weren't pulled in a million different places and times. You were right there. So I think that flow state is really what we want to cultivate. And then whatever helps you remember that, is what you want to lean on.
Right.
Is it running? Is it deep breathing? Is it a garden? Is it playing music? Is it petting your dog or your cat?
Yep, I have a cat. Everybody loves my cat. So you just released your latest book, your 11th book, Feed Your Skin Right.
Yeah, I'll show you a picture.
Yes.
Feed Your Skin Right.
It looks yummy.
Yeah, you know, it's a good book. There's a lot to it. And what it does, it answers the 4 questions that I've been asked since the beginning of my career. What should I eat? What supplements should I take? What topicals should I apply? And what procedures should I have?
Yes.
So those are the questions that I'm always asked.
Yeah. So when we talk about skin, is it like skin as a whole, or are people mainly focused on like their face?
Well, I don't really. Yes, people are mainly focused on their face, particularly, if you go the East Coast, beauty is from here up for the most part. In California, it's all over because we show a lot more skin. But it's really inside out and outside in terms of being able to provide the nutrients that make for great, beautiful skin, and then also stimulate the skin from the outside. These are stimulants. So, example, I don't talk about the hyaluronic acid fillers. I don't talk about the neurotoxins like Botox. What I talk about are some of the procedures or some of the injectables that are biostimulatory. Okay. Because the thought process here, I was part of the team that created the Fraxel laser and that invented fractional treatment. Okay. And I was, one of the founders of that group, and we started out educating people. So what the principle is as follows. When you sort of insult the skin a little bit, when you irritate it, when you piss it off, either with heat, usually with heat, or some mechanical disruption, the nutrients from the skin start heading in that direction. The body's good inflammatory reaction starts saying, hey, something's going on. Yeah. Let's heal. Let's improve this. So let's talk about collagen, because everyone says, well, do I eat collagen? Don't eat collagen. So collagen is this triple helix molecule made up of these 3 amino acids. When we bring heat into the dermis, it unwinds and shortens, and it becomes a scaffold upon which we build new collagen. So this concept of stimulation plus inner nutrition, and then certainly the right topicals as well. Then your topicals, you want to moisturize and hydrate, and protect, and bring bioactive molecules into the skin as well.
Wow, that is fascinating. I know that a lot of consumers are confused out here with all the information that's on the market now as far as taking care of your skin. What are like some common misconceptions that you heard from maybe your clients or patients about skincare or just taking care of your skin?
Sure. There are myths, there are misconceptions. The topical business is $134 billion. I mean, it is an enormous industry. So, and the nutraceutical industry is $150 billion. So the question is, what do you listen to? What do you believe? We're all sort of confused. So in the book, I try to break it down and make it somewhat simple. If you look at inside out, you have to get a handle on your diet. How good is your diet? Are you providing the nutrients, or are you doing too many of the things that are not good for your skin? Too much sugar, because that causes glycation. What is glycation? It is a protein bound to the collagen that makes it stiff and brittle in the face and the rest of the body. So what's your diet like? And that's probably 50% at least. The next question is, do you need specific supplements? Now, why would you need specific supplements? And your supplements that you need may be different from mine, because, you're a woman, I'm a man. You're younger, I'm older. Right. You may, a middle-aged woman may be going through menopause or be premenopausal. You have certain genetics. Your genetics are different from mine. So you may have inherited and acquired genetic variants in which you need more of a certain nutrient than other people.
Mhm.
So you might need genetically more vitamin C or more zinc or might have more vitamin D.
Yeah.
And there are your habits. You've got beautiful glowing skin, but in truth, African Americans just don't, people with much darker skin are not making enough vitamin D.
Mhm.
And that is really important for skin health and beauty and for lots of other things. So we've got habits, we've got genetics, we've got food sensitivities. And some of these, by the way, are genetic. Now, I will often ask people, who likes the taste of cilantro? Do you like cilantro?
I happen to like cilantro, but my mom thinks it tastes like dishwashing liquid.
And to me, it absolutely tastes like dishwashing liquid. Absolutely. So you have inherited a different genetic SNP, genetic variant from your mother. So your genes, this is an important piece. Your genes determine a lot of these things, like how you handle lactose, the sugar in milk, how you handle alcohol, whether you can drink a lot of alcohol, your taste buds, the cilantro as an example, how you metabolize coffee. Now, all of those are very individual according to genetics, but food turns on or off genes in your body. So every food that you put into your mouth is turning on or off certain genes. That's there. I mean, I love that concept. And once you get that deep down, once you internalize that, then you say, wow, I am feeding my genes. I'm eating right for my genes. I am helping to turn on the proteins, to build the proteins that will keep me strong and vital and beautiful. So that's the concept.
Wow, that is very intriguing to know that you can either be helping or hurting your genes based off of whatever you put in your mouth. How beneficial are those microbiome testings for people to like?
Yeah, I'm
handle?
a big fan of them. There's quite a variety of them. I work with a company called Microbiome Labs that has the most sophisticated one on the market. And what they help you understand is first the concept of diversity. Now, we don't just have diversity in the workplace, we need diversity in the gut.
Yeah.
A healthy microbiome is one that is very diverse. It's got a broad spectrum of the bugs. The next concept we have is dysbiosis. Dysbiosis is when we've got too many of the bad bugs and not enough of the good bugs. Now, why is the microbiome important? If it were an organ, the collection of bacteria, viruses, fungi, protozoa in your gut would weigh the same weight as your brain. It'd be about 3.5 to 5 pounds. So think of this as an organ, and you have more bacterial DNA. You have 150 times more bacterial DNA than you have human DNA. So if we were to look at you, we're really that. And we have different microbiomes, different in our gut, in the upper part of our gut, the lower part of the gut. Our skin has different microbiomes, maybe different around our nose versus our axilla or our chest. So what they do a couple of things. One is they create something called short chain fatty acids, and they do that from fiber. So if you eat a lot of fiber, fiber. If you eat a lot of fiber, the good bacteria say, yummy. I'm going to make short chain fatty acids. Now, these short chain fatty acids will go to heal my gut and keep those gut cells working well. And there'll also be another class that will go into circulation and go to the skin where they help with barrier protection. Now, you know probably better than I do that you see a lot of people with sort of leaky skin. The tight junctions aren't there in the skin. They don't have the barrier protection, and they're not having that barrier protection because of dysbiosis, a dysregulated microbiome. And then also you need some of the omega-3s in the skin. So they also create the neurotransmitters. So the things like serotonin and dopamine and GABA. now that work via the nervous system to chill us out, to get us excited, to give us energy. So diversity and dysbiosis are the two things that we can begin to counter. And then there are some good formulations that you can take. One that I particularly like for skin is called Serene Skin. And there's some very good studies for acne showing that they can improve these short chain fatty acids that go into the bloodstream.
Awesome. Awesome. One moment. I need to grab my charger. I totally forgot.
Okay.
My laptop. Totally forgot to plug this thing in. Before it cuts us off. Now I can breathe easy. I'm watching the percentage go down like, oh.
I was wondering, I could see
Okay.
I see that little movement of your eyes. What's she
Yeah.
looking at?
This percentage. So like most of us grow up taking some kind of multivitamin from the time that we're like a little kid. We have our little Flintstone vitamins, and then it kind of just sticks with us into adulthood. Is that enough? Like, is the multivitamin enough? Do we need like a smorgasbord of like all types of supplements to keep our skin looking good?
I mean, that's such a great question, because about 70% of people say they take a multivitamin mineral complex. And that's not a bad start. I mean, I think there's some that are better than others, certainly. I mean, and you want to look for those multivitamins that don't have a lot of fillers and binders in them. But I don't think it's enough if you want skin health and beauty. And the problem that we have is that people think, oh, I already take a vitamin or a mineral. Stop. What we're looking at are all the other things, such as the phytonutrients and sometimes collagen and higher levels of some of the minerals that you need. So this is why I really recommend that people take a skin health and beauty supplement, because they have these other factors, these concentrated antioxidants, for example. Now, the ones that I like, I mean, my go-to is Qualia Skin. Qualia Skin is from a company called Neurohacker. And I was actually going to create my own product line. And I said, but they did it. They put in what I would have, which are these stacks. So you have a stack for hydration, and you have a stack for radiance, and you have a stack for firmness. Now, what is a stack? It is a group of ingredients that work synergistically together. And what I really like is they have branded ingredients. Now, what's the difference between a branded ingredient versus just going to your local drugstore and buying something there? Right. There's a lot, the gap in terms of quality and nutritional products, nutraceuticals, is very large. There's a lot of products that have fillers and binders. They don't really have what they say they have. They say you've got 500 milligrams of this active ingredient. Do you really? Right. Now, when companies who are work, their formulators, when they work with branded ingredients, these branded ingredients have purity, quality, and scientific validity. So in other words, they have done the studies. So if you look at an ingredient called red orange complex, which is in the Qualia formulation, it comes from blood red oranges in Sicily, and the farm is right next to where they process this. So they grab those oranges, they concentrate them, and they put those ingredients, and then they have studies to show how it works in the body to improve energy or improve firmness or radiance or hydration. So if you scour the world and you look for the best antioxidants, you're going to lean on things like astaxanthin. That's one of my favorites. What is astaxanthin? You know those salmon that swim upstream and they do this? Well, it's because they get the energy from eating this red algae. And it's the red algae that is full of astaxanthin. And you want that power in your skin. So astaxanthin is resveratrol, some of the concentrates from grapes, are important. And then there's also ingredients that are oral ceramides. Now, this, you may be familiar when you've had a procedure done. Sometimes people will put on a topical containing a ceramide, and the reason for that is it's barrier protection. It if you've got something that's kind of fresh and raw, you can use that. Well, the point about that is you can also take oral ceramides. There's a supplement, a branded ingredient called Hydropeach, and taking it orally really works. Now, the people who've really nailed that down, done all the research, the Japanese. The Japanese are all over these oral ceramides for beauty, and most of the really great studies have been done by them.
Okay, that's very interesting. I'm definitely going to look into that because I want to stay looking 12.
All right. Well, I think you're looking 14 myself personally, but
thank you. How can consumers go about, I guess, vetting or researching those harmful ingredients, those binders and those fillers that are in the supplements? Are there specific ingredients they should be looking out for on the packaging?
Yeah, there are, but here's the way I look at it. And in the book, I list the professional companies whose products I like, and I list the consumer product companies. And there's you can count them on both hands. And if you go with those companies, if you lean on their products, then you're getting the purity, the sustainability, the trackability, the quality. So I think you're almost better rather than sort of going to the store and saying, this is carrageen and this is big long words, polysorbate, blah, blah, blah. To go ahead and work and choose products from the companies that are reputable, solid companies that don't include that. Sure, you could save $10 on a magnesium supplement, but really, do you want to the fillers and the binders, and are you really sure there's magnesium in there and the dosage that they claim, and is it even the right kind of magnesium for your skin? Because there's only a few kinds of magnesium that are really efficacious for the skin and for the brain as well.
Right. Is there a way to know really how much of the supplement that your body is actually absorbing versus what is actually being released through like your urine and things like that?
Yes and no. Most of the time we take a lot of B vitamins, and people, doctors say, oh, we have the most expensive urine in the world. People just pee out their vitamins. That's true for a lot of the B vitamins. They're in amounts that are greater than normal, and we do excrete them. So those are water soluble vitamins, and essentially there's no harm unless you've got some genetic predispositions. On the other hand, the fat soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K, you have to be a little bit cautious of. You have to take a fair amount to get to any kind of toxicity. You've got to really go overboard. But we are seeing people gobble up lots and lots of vitamin D these days. Yes. So I think now, how do you test that? You can go ahead and do home testing, and you can test your vitamin D level on a finger stick. You can test your omega levels. Omega-3 levels are really important, so you can test those as well. Mm-hmm. You can test for some of the minerals, and you can do food sensitivity testing, all with finger sticks. Yeah. So I think that's opened things up. Of course, here's the other issue about that, is that once some people do some of these home tests, they can create more confusion than not. Because, oh my goodness, I can't eat anything. Look, I did a food sensitivity test. All I can eat is water and celery. So, the idea of having a guide, a nutrition professional to work with is really important. Now, what I would do if I were in the beauty business, as you are, I would take a nutritionist, a integrative functional doctor, and a naturopath take one of them to lunch one time a month at least.
Okay.
And what I would do is, say, tell me about what you do. Who are the kind of patients that I should send in your direction?
Mm-hmm.
Clients, you'll be clients. And then on the other hand, hey, let me tell you the kind of questions you might ask about beauty in order to refer someone to me for skincare, for beauty, for so and so. So I think this is, in terms of running a business, this is really a great and easy way to do things.
Yeah.
And this way, you can send one of your clients who's got really bad acne, let's say, and that acne is coming from their hormones. It's driven by hormones. It's driven by a crappy diet. The biggest contributors to acne are dairy products, sugar, and fat, and these meat-based fats. And look at teenage acne. So what do they eat?
Sugar.
Junk food with a lot of milk, dairy products, a ton of sugar, throw in a little zinc deficiency, a bad microbiome, and you have the acne recipe. But if you are seeing folks with perimenopausal acne, if you're seeing folks with a lot of eczema or psoriasis, and they are open and interested in natural kinds of approaches, then you should have a nutrition or a naturopath or functional medicine doc that you can say, hey, look, we've got your skin looking as good as I can do. Yeah. We need to go and attend to your gut and some of these other things that are causing inflammation in your body. So.
Yeah, I absolutely love that, because one thing that we see a lot, not only the acne, but one thing that we notice a lot as makeup artists is that when people are on medications, like the texture of their skin is different and the makeup doesn't really stick to their skin the way that it should.
Got it. Absolutely. There's something called drug nutrient depletions, DNDs. So that these drugs that people take, for example, we have in the United States 26 million Americans on statins to lower their cholesterol. But the statins interfere with important cofactors like coenzyme Q10, which is essential for mitochondrial energy.
Wow.
So if people are on and this is an example where I talk about supplementing intelligently. So if you know that you are on a statin, you need more CoQ10. If you are on birth control pills, that sets off a whole nother set of needs for B vitamins, et cetera. So in the book, I've got some resources that people can go to for drug nutrient depletions. So just think a little bit about this, because the subtitle of the book is Your Personalized Nutrition Guide to Radiant Beauty. And it takes into account that there's not another person on this planet with skin that's the same as yours. Right. So you need why you need different things, different genes, different habits, different patterns, different medications that you take, different food sensitivities. And, you can just kind of dial that in and work with someone to dial that in. That's a great thing.
Yeah. Have you ever played the drinking game, Never Have I Ever?
No.
So
never have I ever played the drinking game.
So traditionally, like if you've done the thing, like the never have I ever statement, you have to like take a shot or something like that. But on the podcast, I have a different version where I'll give you like a never have I ever done this. And if you have done it before, just tell us the story behind it.
Okay, you got it.
Okay, so just have a little fun. So for you, I would say never have I ever had someone try to get a diagnosis like on the spot after learning that you were a doctor. Has somebody ever done that before to you? Hey, I know you're enjoying the episode, but I have something to tell you real quick. Did you know that I created a Patreon? Look, podcasting is fun. I absolutely love it, but it is not cheap. And there have been so many people who have reached out to me that want to support the show somehow and keep the good vibes flowing. So I thought, why not create a Patreon? For as little as $3 a month, you can support the Friends of Beauty podcast and join a community of other loyal supporters of the show, just like you, okay?
There are other tier levels available that unlock tons of exclusive Patreon-only content like behind-the-scenes clips, bonus interview content, monthly calls with me, discounts, and so much more. But no matter what tier level you decide to choose, I appreciate you so much. And I'm going to give you a shout out on the podcast when you join. So if you'd like to be a part of the exclusive Patreon community for the Friends of Beauty podcast, I'll leave the link right here and down below in the show notes for you to join. And as always, I appreciate your support so, so much. Now, let's go ahead and jump back into the episode.
Happens all the time. And it happens in the book when people say, well, I don't have time to read a book. Just tell me the one thing I should do. Just give me the answer. And I do have an answer. I have a simple answer, but nobody likes it.
Go get the book.
And the answer is, it depends. What's right for you? Well, it depends on just all the factors that we just said. But it's really common for people, they want that quick fix. And behavior change and the movement to great health is a process. It begins with assessment and understanding. And we need to figure out how willing someone is to make changes. Yes, I mean, that's one of the most frustrating parts of allopathic medicine.
Yeah.
I hurt my back, just give me a pill. Well, that's not satisfying for the doctor, and it's not satisfying for the patient. Right. So we have to embark on this process.
Right. You got to get down to the problem, not just the putting the Band-Aid on, a quick fix.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let me see. Are there any foods that we have been taught that are so good for our skin over the years that we just been chopping down our throats that aren't necessarily that great for our skin in the long run?
Well, anything that is man-made, that is processed, that has a lot of chemicals in it, and that doesn't look like a food, it doesn't sort of make taste like a food. You really want to move away from that and get as close to what things look like from the earth, from the sea, from the land, as possible. So that's the thing you want to hold in your brain. Protein bars. Well, yeah, sure. First of all, most of them taste like cardboard. I mean, if you're snacking on protein bars in the course of the day, it's they're cardboard. But there are also these man-made concoctions. So I would move away from those man-made foods and get as close to things that look like food. And when you do that, then that whole concept changes how you shop, how you prepare foods, the aisles you go to in the grocery. So you basically around the edges and not down the middle. Yeah. And then you cut a lot of cost as well. I think that, yes, and it's important, if you can, to get organic. Certainly some fruits and vegetables should be, really, you can sacrifice for that. But still, you want to rely on plants, on grains, whole grains, leafy vegetables. Get a lot of fiber. Fiber cures a lot of stuff, and pre and probiotics. So sauerkraut, one of the great things for a gut, if you want to heal your gut, and a lot of, is sauerkraut and kimchi. Now, not the sauerkraut that's in the cans that are on the shelf, because those have preservatives that inactivate the live bacteria. Or you want to go into the refrigerated section, where there are so many great sauerkrauts these days. And you just get in the habit of find the kinds you like, add it to your eggs in the morning, throw it into a bowl of veggies and fish and grains, throw a little sauerkraut on there. So that can really be helpful for people, because again, that's the food that the bacteria like in your gut, and you've also got some live bacteria there as well.
Yeah, speaking of food, another thing that I've seen a rise, I guess, of people talking about it is gluten. Like you're starting to see a lot more like gluten-free options
Yeah.
or even on menus and stuff like that. Does gluten play a role in?
Yeah, look, about 1% of the people carry the gene for celiac disease. And it is the symptoms of celiac are very commonly confused with irritable bowel syndrome. So you'll have people, oh yeah, I've got irritable bowel, and they'll have all of these symptoms, little brain fog, little joint achiness, little skin problems, and they can have these, and it can be very serious. They can get serious, and then a simple test for the genes for this will let them know if they have gluten. So about 1% of people. Now, there's maybe 5 or 6 times that number that have non-celiac gluten sensitivity. And for them, the gluten in wheat primarily is what sets off vaguer symptoms. Okay, but it's also gut related, it can be skin related. And the best way, I mean, there are tests that can test it. The best way that people can test food sensitivities is by cutting things out of their diet and then putting them back in. So if you go gluten-free for 4 to 6 weeks, see what happens.
Yeah.
What happens to your skin? What happens to your energy? What happens to your gut? What happens to your joint? And then put the gluten back in and see what happens. Now, the common offenders, though, for people are gluten, dairy, shellfish, certain nuts. So these are the common sorts of things that people have sensitivity to. And then we talk a little bit in the book, I talk about how to do an elimination diet. But gluten's a pretty simple one. And I told my son, if you want to get rid of that rash you've got here, you've got to kind of give up gluten. He says, oh my goodness, pizza and beer. Oh no. The 2 basic food groups. But it clears up and you add the gluten back. So a lot of people think they have gluten sensitivity. Another piece of that is digestion. A lot of folks have issues with breaking down carbohydrates or proteins or fats. So particularly with aging, as you get a little older, you lose your ability to make the enzymes. So very often for these people, an enzyme product with meals can really be a lifesaver as well.
Got you. Consuming meat, does that play a role or not or is it like personal?
Yeah, let's talk about meat. A lot of red meat is not good for you. Period. End of discussion. It's not good for your heart, for your arteries, for anything. Particularly these days, we have cows, and even fish being fed a corn-based diet. Now, what happens when you eat a lot of corn is you make more omega-6s, which they're not totally bad, but you don't want a lot of them, versus omega-3 fatty acids. So you've probably heard flaxseed and fish oils, omega-3s. Omega-6s are the corn oils, sunflower oil, cottonseed oil, all of those refined oils. So you want to shift. Canola oil is a pretty good oil. Peanut oil, mezzo. But and then eating the omega-9s, the olive oils, and those kinds of monounsaturated fatty acids. But the point I want to raise is that when you buy beef that's been traditionally raised, it's been raised on corn. Same thing with farm fish. They've been raised on farms versus wild raised, pasture raised. So I think that's important. I eat meat. I went for 7 years as a vegetarian after medical school, and in those days, was it hard? This is a long time ago. You go to Minnesota in the wintertime and try to find a salad bar,
right?
And that even looked like it had nutrients in it, and they didn't. It's easier now, but if you're going to be totally plant-based, or if you're going to be vegan, you've got your work cut out. It occupies a large chunk of brain energy to make sure you get what you get. And even then, you need supplementation if you're a vegan. If you're a vegetarian, but you're a pescatarian or you're eating eggs, you're going to be in really good shape, particularly if most of your diet is fresh fruits, vegetables. When you look at that plate, when you take a plate, 50% of it should be vegetables and whole grains.
Okay.
And 25% of it is should be a high quality protein. Yes. So
are they still doing the food pyramid? I haven't seen that thing since.
No, I think the food pyramid is kind of played out. There are revised food pyramids in which people have said, "Hey, look, there's a better one." But so much of what comes out of the government can also be influenced. I mean, organizations do a great job, but the problem is that there are vested interests. And these vested interests pull people towards, let's consume more of these substances. But I think if you reach out for more vegetables, more fruits, more whole grains, seeds and nuts are great sources of protein and some of the fatty acids. So I think what do I like to snack on? I love to snack on some almonds with some dried unsulfured apricots. Be careful though, because they're highly calorically rich. I need the calories. Some people need fewer calories, but that's a great snack. Almonds are a go-to. Walnuts are a go-to. Sprinkling a lot of foods with flaxseed. Okay. Great way to get omega-3s. Okay. You have an oatmeal in the morning, throw on a little flaxseed. You're doing a salad, throw on a little flaxseed. So you're doing a salad, throw in some walnuts, throw in some almonds. These are great ways to do some things. Okay. What kind of popular aesthetic procedures are people doing right now for their skin? Whew. That's a whole nother hour. You know that. Top three. I think that we developed the Fraxel laser for fractional resurfacing, and I still think that's one of the great procedures. We moved from there to microneedling, and the difference in depth determines on the needles what a professional can do versus at home. Right. But it's still a good way to break this skin barrier and introduce topicals into the body. Then we've added radio frequency to the microneedling. And what that does is that gets the heat down into the dermis, causes that collagen to unwind. And over time, over 3, 4, 5, 6 months, particularly with a series of them, that you get improvement that way. So we're seeing a lot of movement. I mean, all the major manufacturers pretty much are doing microneedling with RF. So I think that's become very popular. There are ultrasound procedures. Now, another way to get heat into the skin is with ultrasound, focused, high intensity, focused ultrasound. And you can bring heat very deeply into the skin that way. There's certainly a lot of procedures that disrupt the epidermis, and most of the estheticians are really got their understand how to do that very well. But I think it's combined with some procedures that go a little deeper. There are also biostimulatory injectables, Sculptra, Radius. These are stimulate the body to make its own collagen. Those are important. So those are the kind of procedures I think that you lean on. And then fractional resurfacing, you can always do different depths, different intensities. I think that's a very good thing, particularly for men. I recommend, they get a lot of these brown spots that are not cancerous, that can be kind of cleaned up. So I think a once a year cleaning up of the skin is probably good for everybody, with a fractional resurfacing or a series of some micro needling with or without RF. Okay.
This is a lot. Look, it's so, the older that I get, I'm like, it's just so complex being a human being. Like,
Ooh, and look, I try and having the pressure to look as beautiful as you look. It's not easy. You got a high standard. See,
I'm
that's
telling
the
you,
issue.
I tell people most of this is genetics. Okay.
Yeah.
Blessed to have good genetics at this point because I don't really do much with my skin. But the older that I get, I know that I need to pay, special close attention to it, try to eat right and everything so it could come from within. Oh, but yes. What I would say, what are you working on your legacy to be with the work that you're doing?
Well, that's interesting. So right now I'm actually creating 2 courses called Inside Skin Beauty, one for professionals. So it's a 9-hour course to help them implement this system of how we can get skin health and beauty from within, and then a consumer course. And the professional version will be out in about another 6 weeks.
Okay.
So that'll be late October. And that's part of my legacy because there are very few people who've put together the integrative, functional wellness side of things with aesthetics. And I think that that's a unique contribution that I can make to the field. I also do a lot of research and work with the vagus nerve and the vagus nerve stimulation, which is really exciting. And I've co-founded a professional association called the Vagus Nerve Society, vnsociety.org. But I think my legacy will probably pretty much be around this driving this skin inside concept, which is to me been my life's work and what I've been passionate about, and trying to instill passion in practitioners and trying to help people who want to make a business out of this. And everyone who touches a client can and should share the secrets of getting a glow from within. Now, of course, that means you've got to have both competence and some confidence and commitment, and you got to walk the walk. Right. And that's hard. I mean, I actually was just speaking at a big beauty conference, 4,000 or 5,000 people, and it was interesting to me. A lot of salons, a lot of med spas, that a lot of folks were just not taking good enough care of themselves, and it struck me. I saw a lot of bad skin, and a lot of overweight, and a lot of people with lower energy levels than I would have liked. And remember that, well, it comes back to what we talked about earlier. Your gift that you share is who you are and the work you've done on yourself. And that comes from within.
And I feel like this is such a good time for it because people are more aware and more conscious and wanting to live better and like lead healthier and better lives. So I think this is a great time for, that course and everything.
Yeah, thanks. And, certainly if we look at the surveys, the millennials are really all over this right now. So they're the generation that's driving this, and they think about health and what they can do to stay healthier and pretty intensively.
Yes. Oh my God, this has been great. So much information. I can't wait to, go back and digest everything that you said for sure.
It's all in the book. So, which is why you write a book, basically, because I think we can have a great, fun chat for an hour, but there's nothing better than highlighting pages in the book and turning and marking and turning the flaps down. So I'm still, yes, it's in Kindle, but I'm still a big fan of like the hardcore.
Yeah, me too.
I like to snuggle up with it with my highlighter.
Me too. That's how I read my books as well. Yeah. So before you go, I have to ask you the Friends in Beauty rapid fire question.
Shoot.
So whatever comes to your mind first, just like spit.
Okay.
Let's go.
Go.
All right. What are the top 3 keys to your success so far?
Belief in my abilities, being willing to make mistakes, and having an incredibly supportive family and friends.
Okay. And how do you measure your success?
By one person coming up to me and saying, Dr. Tager, you changed my life.
I love that. What's the best advice you've ever received, or a piece of advice that's just always stuck with you?
I was a wrestler when in high school, and not a very good one, but because our school went to the state champions, it had state champions, but we had this saying: when the going gets tough, the tough get going. So it is the ability to confront adversity and rise to the occasion. I have a book called Transforming Stress into Power. I think it was my 7th or 8th book. And it really talks about, life got tougher. Can you get stronger? So that was a major part of my belief system.
Yeah. What advice would you give to, I guess, a patient right now that is just struggling with getting the results that they want with their skin? And they're just like, I've been eating right, I've been trying these supplements and it's not working. Like, what would you say to them to keep them encouraged?
Yeah, I think you have to break behavior change down into bite-sized pieces. So, people say, oh, I'm doing everything right. Well, they're often not. So let's focus on the one thing this week. Let's focus on either time restricted eating, which you give yourself 13 hours where you're not eating. Do that. Let's see how, just one thing. Let's add fiber to your diet. Specifically, intentionally do that. So you focus on just one thing, making small changes so people feel empowered. So I think that's part of it. We want that instant fix. Everyone wants, I want to be beautiful tomorrow. I've got to go to a wedding.
Yes, absolutely. What's a resource that helps you in your business that you can share with the Friends in Beauty community?
What's a resource? I have a few resources. I do a lot of work with the American Nutrition Association, and that's a great place to get some content. They've got a wonderful conference. It's called theana.org. I also track a lot of stuff with the Institute for Functional Medicine and the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. I talk about these resources in the back of the book in the last chapter. So I track that. I get a lot of emails. I'm on a lot of, I subscribe to a lot of things that I just look at briefly. And I follow my friends on Instagram, and my friends follow me on Instagram, although this is always hard because I'm by nature a little bit more of an introvert. I know it seems like I'm not, but I'm very happy in my office, typing away, thinking. And with Instagram, it's going to be, hey, look at me. So my Instagram, as you know, tends to be my garden, my wife, my kids, and my dog. Yeah. But I'm going to start posting more content there. And I do a lot on LinkedIn on the professional side of things. So people can reach me at DRM Tager. That's my Instagram handle, or hit me up at LinkedIn. And I've got some content I routinely put out.
Okay. And the last one, I just want you to fill in the blank.
Okay.
Say, my name is blank, and the key to longevity and success is whatever you think it is.
Okay, well, you know my name, Dr. Mark Tager. And the key to longevity and success is, I would think, to be present in the moment when you're eating, to be present when you are creating, to be present when you are working on your client, to be present. And presence is actually, it's different from mindfulness, because presence also has an intention about it. So when you are being present with your client to make them look so beautiful, you are right there, and that is your intention. So it is, you are attending and intending. I've got another book called Enhance Your Presence, and it talks about the secrets of building presence. And one of them really is this just be there.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I just got the word intention tattooed on me for my birthday to
Very
remember
nice.
to
Yes.
be like intentional about everything that I do.
Yes.
So I absolutely love that you shared that.
Yeah, intention is very powerful. Now, for a practitioner, this is important. If your intention, and I have a model for this, it's a whole nother hour. But if your intention is to sell a product to someone, you are not in service for them. You're not providing a service. If your intention is to light up new possibilities in the minds and hearts of others, then your intention is noble. So if you've got intention tattooed there, the definition of that is to light up new possibilities in the minds and hearts of others. That is what we all should be doing. And if everyone did that, just think of how powerful people would be, engaged and lighting up new possibilities. So that's what I basically, I give a lot of talks. I've given 12, 1,500, who knows? But my goal is not to show people how smart I am, not to show people that I know the latest literature. It is to light up possibilities in the minds and hearts of others. And if I do that, I am never nervous because it's not about me. I'm just the messenger. It's about you and you're receiving this message. So.
That's such a blessing. Those words were such a blessing. You have no idea. Before you go, share your Instagram again and where people can go to purchase your book.
Okay, I'll push the book because there it is. Feed Your Skin Right. It's got a great forward by Dr. Doris Day, who's an amazing person. And then at DRM Tager, and then LinkedIn. And my wife is yelling at me that I've got to drive her someplace.
Yep.
Gotta go.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Friends in Beauty podcast. Don't forget, sharing is caring. Share this episode with at least one friend in beauty and subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts so that other friends in beauty can find this show. Plus, we'd love to hear your feedback. Connect with us on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty, #Friends in Beauty to join the conversation, and join our Friends in Beauty Facebook community to stay connected. Talk to you soon.